Hello friends and welcome to Jessie James Beads. We're working today with the August 2025 Magical Mystery Bead Box, which is the Pony Express. Why don't we head down to the board? We'll take a quick look at what's in the box. Look at everything all together that you get in this beautiful box. A fantastic array of naturals and sunset colours. Really beautiful. I've blended 3 of the bead mixes together here, which is Cactus Farm, Yee-Haw, and Monument Valley. They're all in that beautiful mix, like a proper smorgasbord. I've also got these sugar-like mini beads in High Noon. We've got 2 incredible strands. Wild West, these ceramic beads are absolutely stunning. You've also got a jewel strand in Into the Sunset. Gorgeous glitter and luster on those. Saddle Up features a great array of colours in these lovely wooden beads. We've also got some fabric florals and that beautiful star design just here. Finishing off with 2 chains in Gold Rush and Rodeo, which are really good lengths. And I like to think of this as paperclip chain. Technically it's not, but it's a good sturdy chain. Let's have a look at what we're going to make today. For today and the Pony Express August 2025, I thought we'd play around with geometric shapes. So we're going to work on creating this diamond square down at the base of our earring drop, and then we're going to use a combination of round and square shapes to give a little bit of interest to this classic bar drop earring. So we're going to be working with just a simple length of 1 wire today. This is an 8-inch length of 18 gauge round copper core medium wire. Really any craft wire will do. Now I'm going to be using the box joint of my favourite pair of pliers, which are these very cute little memory wire finishing pliers. And we're going to commence bending using the box joint. So we're not using the round pins on these pliers, we're going to use the box joint. So if I just tip those up to the camera, you can see that they are indeed square. And we're going to start around about 1 inch from one end and just using that box joint, and I'm not shoving that wire right against the opening here where the joint moves, but I'm using about the central position on that box joint, and I'm going to push the wire up. So we've got a really nice strong angle created. The reason I'm using the box joint is because it gives me a way to get a repeatable distance. Again, pushing very firmly. So now we've got 2 sides of a square. Pop those back into the box joint. Make sure that they sit in the centre. Push that over again. So there is the 3rd side. They're making a bit of a funny diamond shape at the moment, but don't worry, we can address that in a second. And then the 4th one is going to come over. So I'm just going to use the moment whilst it's in the box joint just to press that down. And you'll see that we have created this kind of diamond shape. So what we're going to do here is just flip this over so we've got the shorter tail showing to us. And I'm just going to make sure that's nice and square for the moment. I'm going to switch to my favourite flat facing pliers, which are my bent chain nose pliers. And I'm just going to grip across the shorter tail of wire and push that just a little bit. Then I'm going to flip over to the longer side of the wire. Grip across. Now you may need to just open that out slightly. Grip across that angle and bring that all the way back up to the top so that you end up with a diamond down at the bottom of that length of wire. Very simply going to give that a little bit of a squish to make it nice and square, or diamond shape if you prefer. And then I'm going to flip over so that the shorter side is shown to me on the front just here. If I glint that in the light, you'll see we've got the short tail of wire coming over to one side and the long tail of wire is coming up at the top. I've adjusted that slightly so that we get a nice straight line, as if it was travelling from the lowest point up through the middle and then onwards and upwards. What I'm going to do now is to grip just across the wire where that angle change takes place, and I'm holding again the shorter tail of wire. I'm going to push that over and all the way around so that it's like a hook You see that hook going around that long tail of wire that's coming up at the top. Once that is in position, I'm going to very, very softly give that a gentle little squish. We don't want to disrupt the wire too much, and we don't want to put too much pressure on it. Once you've got that little squish into position, we're going to grip across that square of wire down at the base and then draw that short tail all the way over. Now you have sealed that little diamond down at the base of your design, and we can trim that tail of wire away. Now I'm going to trim that just a tiny bit off the edge. Take that little residue and put it in your scrap pot, and then what we're going to do is to pinch very firmly whilst we just push that cut end down so that it sits smoothly against that core wire. Like so. Now if it sticks out very much, you will need to just take a second to give that a teeny tiny squish just to make sure that it sits down flat. I'm then going to warm my wire through again. It's really very helpful when you're asking your wire to do things to give it a little bit of a warm through. So I have chosen various beads from various mixes in the Pony Express August 2025 Magical Mystery Bead Box from Jessie James Beads, and I'm going to use one of the round forms and just allow that to slide down all the way to the bottom of the design. The hole on this is a little bit perfect for the job, so you might want to hold the end with your pliers. We've got plenty of wire to play with, so if you mar the wire at the top of that strand, just holding it, don't worry about it. Once that's all the way down into position, we've got diamond, then we've got round. Now we're going to go for square. So I'm going to pop the end of the wire into the frame, and then I'm going to add the square bead onto the end of that long piece of wire, and then I'm going to just wiggle that until the end comes out, the end of the square bead, and then through that frame as well, drawing that down. And this will spin in where if you want it to as well. So we've got diamond, round and square. So now I'm going to go for, I guess, roundish, but I love these wooden beads. So that flower is going to sit up at the top. And what we're going to do now is to use our favourite flat facing pliers to create a small loop up at the top. I'm going to share with you now why I absolutely love my memory wire finishing pliers, because it means I can get regulation sized loops up at the top of my wire drop earrings. So the smaller pin is a 2mm pin. That's the one I'm going to use to create a round form up at the top. So I'm going to hold that firmly whilst I bring the wire all the way around and over the front of the design. So you've got the same sized loop at the top of your design as you have on the first earring. So once I have got that nice and straight up at the top, I'm going to grip firmly onto that loop, draw that tail of wire all the way around. Making sure that you have warmed your wire first will give you a smoother result. That's basically the crux of our design today. But if I flip this over now, what we're going to do is to trim as close as we can to the core to make sure that it is very easy for us to just smooth that cut end down. Especially when you're working with earrings and pendants, things that are worn close to the skin, we do want to ensure there are no sticky uppy parts. So let's just pop that down onto the board and take a look. We've got the second side of our earring now. So we've gone diamond, round, square, and I'm going to go with round again, even though it's technically a flower. All that remains to finish off our Jessie James Beads Pony Express design is to just open up our chosen earring finding. So I've gone for a golden colour one because I think it matches really well with the brassy and bronzy tones and that beautiful dark wood as well. So if you have a front, which you will have, that's the slightly neater side, then make sure that that goes in the right way round. I am very, very good at putting that in the wrong way round. At least you can close it up once or twice to check that that is in the correct orientation. So there we have our Pony Express geometric wire drop earrings from Jessie James Beads. Thanks so much for watching today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.